So today we're going to revisit the Deus II with the new Hf2 coil and the Minelab Manticore wearing the 5x8. So in the last video, which I've had down now for, this is the second day it was down, I got a lot of suggestions from XP. We had a weekend of rain. I wanted to get out here and try those suggestions and show you the difference. So one is obviously ground balancing. My ground here is about an 87, which reads in the meter. When I do ground balance, I'll get around an 86 to 85. I'll show you that as well. And when you do change frequencies, make sure you ground balance too. One thing that helped me a little bit was changing the ground stability to 1. I'll demonstrate that as well. And obviously the questions were around this 10-inch V-nickel, which is a tough test, but the Minelab Manticore, just turning it on in, all-terrain low conductors, hits that nickel. So we'll look at that quickly. I'll show you the settings that you can adjust. So to get pretty much the same performance, you got to make some moves in the Deus II. You have to bump up that audio response. Ground stability of 1 helps here. Now, can you hunt with ground stability of 1? I'm not sure. I haven't tried that yet, but I do have feedback that it works in some locations, but I've heard others say I can't use ground stability 1 here. So you'll have to adjust per your site. Now, when it comes to the gold, I did go over that again in gold field mode. We didn't see an issue with gold field mode over this. It hit it, hit it absolutely fine. But we'll look at the 120 kilohertz in mono as well, because that's what this coil is about, right? 120 kilohertz should find small gold. And we know, still using all-terrain low conductors in stock on the Manticore, it hits that. So we'll look at that again with the suggestions. I'm only going to show this quickly once because I am going to put that other video back up. I didn't make all of the modifications I'm making in this video with the Deus II, but I'll show you that these targets are achievable. But you gotta make some adjustments that you usually wouldn't think of, like bumping that audio response. It'll be louder in the headphones, but out here to hear it as well, you got to bump it up, change that ground stability to 1, and I'll show you both targets. So here's the V-nickel again. Let me show the settings. I did take the cover off the Deus II this time because there was some glare in that last video as well. So all-terrain low conductors. All right, ground balance 0. We don't have to mess with it with this. Recovery speed 6. I think it even hits it at 6. We'll have to take a look, but we can lower that. Ferrous limits of 9 and 4. And 1 region all tone. I'll probably get better out of a recovery speed of 5 on this one. But that's another thing we adjust on the Deus II to get it to hit this really good, is drop it to a recovery of 1.5. I'm curious, so this is stock ferrous limits. What if we change that? Like, can we close this machine up? So let's go 10. Say we were hunting for just like coins, like that's really closed up right there. That's like lowering that's like raising the silencer and bottle cap reject on the Deus II. 7, 11. So we're really closing this up more. Now I don't know if it'll hit the gold this closed up. Still does. Kinda still does. I have this machine pretty closed up right now. But anyway, there's a lot more details on the Manticore in the last test. So where we struggled was using factory programs really, and we lowered down the recovery speed. We looked at some of that, but we're going to start. So we got recommendations here of sensitive program as a base. I think we looked at that, but we didn't really modify and adjust from there. And I'm going to hold this up to the speaker at some point. So I have a microphone over here so we can hear it better. So we're going to, I don't want to make this video too long, but I want to show what I adjust. So here's the V-nickel with just stock sensitive. just clippy, really no ID. Same thing that we saw before, okay? So we will ground balance. This is a clean spot here. And you can see I'm 87, and we'll see if it drops down. Sometimes it drops to an 86, 85. See, when it was pretty wet, it did drop. Let's try a different section. Right here is quiet. Oh, there's an 85. All right. We'll see if that helps it. 84. All right, let's stick with that. So 84. A little bit better. Okay, let's now go in and change our ground stability to 1. You hear how we got that zip back in the audio? Zip, 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 where the ground tracking of 2, the ground stability of 2 was choppy. So that helps in my soil. And XP did say I have tough soil. I was showing them the ground level over here. So that helps. So we changed that. Silencer, we'll leave at 1. Sensitivity, it's at 90. We'll max it. We'll go to 95. Frequency max 89. We haven't changed that. Now, if I were to go to the 50 range, we ground balance again. But if I go back to 89, I don't have to ground balance again. So that's some information that I learned from XP. Reactivity, let's go down to 1.5. Audio response, 7. See, absolutely screaming now. And this is a tough target. It never had a problem hitting the 8-inch. The 8-inch has got some trash around it. 5 ID, it's weird on that one. All right, so there's the V-neck. So was I fair in the other test? I didn't make crazy modifications to the Manticore, so I didn't make crazy modifications to this, but when XP reached out and said, hey, I want you to try these, I wanted to take that video down, try them, and then, and then go back and talk about it. So now let's look. This is set up for that. Let's see how it does on the gold. Dirty ID. Okay, no problem now on the gold. Let's look at mono. Well, we can go quickly to gold field. All right, I know I have a clean patch here because I've been testing this. Let's ground balance here. Now we're back up to 87. Okay, gold field. Okay, we didn't have an issue with gold field last time. Okay, mono. Mono is the one that I want to look at, because if this thing has 120 kilohertz, that's where we should be looking at this small gold. Deus mono. Sensitivity 95. Frequency. Now I don't know the rules on this, but I know we haven't hit 120, so we're going to ground balance again. It's locking in at an 85 there. All right, Deus mono, 120 kilohertz. Still get that 2. Let's see what happens if we audio response. This is just going to bring out more iron. Silencer, let's try 0. See, those IDs are a little concerning when it should be a 30. This is a 25.9. Reactivity, let's try to lower it a little bit. Let's see if we can get that 30 back. And I brought out the small piece of gold again. That will ring a 30. Get some iron mixed in there. All right, everyone, let's quickly fire up the Manticore again, because we're getting some iron tone in there and a low ID. Now, the Manticore has a very low ID as well of a 1-2, but it locks in at a 1-2. Now, I do hear some iron tone in there, but it's not chopping up the ID, you know, it's locking on. So I still think something's going on with the 120 kilohertz. I know XP is looking at that. I've sent them a lot of examples, but I wanted to show this again because I wanted to open up the machine and show that it is achievable, just not as easily as turning, you know, the Manticore on. You do have to open that coil up. In my soil anyway, you know, this is this beta and my soil, which XP has let me know my soil is difficult. I am in Rhode Island in the USA, and I get about 3 to 4 bars on the scale on the main screen. All right, everyone, thanks for watching.